What happens when two strong personalities collide on live television, and neither one is willing to back down? The answer might surprise you, and it definitely shocked everyone in the studio that day. Before we dive into this wild exchange, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and drop a comment below telling me what you think about celebrity interviews gone wrong. Now let's get into what really went down. The Kelly Clarkson show had booked Billy Bob Thornton to promote his latest project. And from the moment he walked onto that stage, something felt different. The audience applauded as he settled into the guest chair. But there was a tension in his posture that Kelly seemed to pick up on immediately. "Welcome to the show," Kelly said with her signature warm smile. "We're so excited to have you here." Billy Bob nodded, barely making eye contact. "Thanks for having me." Kelly glanced down at her notes, then back up at him. "So, you've got this new film coming out, and I have to say the trailer looks absolutely incredible. What drew you to this role?" "Well," Billy Bob began, leaning back in his chair. "I don't really like talking about why I do things. I just do them. You know, it's not something I analyze." Kelly's smile faltered just slightly. But surely there must have been something about the script or the character that spoke to you." "I just told you. I don't analyze it," he replied, his voice flat. "That's the problem with these interviews. Everyone wants some deep explanation for everything." The audience shifted uncomfortably. Kelly maintained her composure, though her eyes showed a flicker of surprise. "Okay, well, let's talk about your co-stars then. You worked with some amazing talent on this film." "I worked with actors," Billy Bob said. "They showed up. They said their lines. We all went home. I don't know what you want me to say about it." Kelly paused, clearly trying to figure out how to navigate this increasingly difficult conversation. "Billy Bob, I'm just trying to have a conversation with you about your work. That's kind of the point of you being here. Is it?" he asked, his tone sharpening. "Or is the point to fill time between commercials and make everything sound more interesting than it actually is?" The studio went silent. You could feel the collective intake of breath from everyone watching. Kelly sat up straighter in her chair, and something in her expression changed. The warmth was still there, but now it was mixed with something else, something steelier. "You know what, Billy Bob," Kelly said, her voice calm but firm. "I've been doing this show for years. I've interviewed hundreds of guests, and most of them understand that this is a two-way street. I'm here to help you promote your project, but you've got to give me something to work with." Billy Bob leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. "Maybe I don't think I need your help. Maybe I think the work speaks for itself and all this talking about it just diminishes what we created." "That's a lovely artistic sentiment," Kelly shot back. "But you signed up to be here. Nobody forced you into that chair. So either we can have an actual conversation or we can sit here in silence for the next 10 minutes. Choice." The audience was completely still now, every eye fixed on the two of them. Billy Bob's jaw tightened, and for a moment it seemed like he might actually get up and walk off. Instead, he let out a short laugh that had no humor in it. "You know what your problem is," he said. "You think being nice and bubbly means people have to play along, but some of us don't dance for our supper." Kelly's eyes widened. "Dance for your supper? Billy Bob, you're a guest on my show. I'm giving you a platform to reach millions of people. If that's dancing for your supper, then I don't know what to tell you." "A platform I don't need," he countered. "I've been in this industry longer than you've been famous. I don't need a talk show to validate my work." "Then why are you here?" Kelly asked, and the question hung in the air like a challenge. Billy Bob opened his mouth, then closed it again. The silence stretched out, uncomfortable and heavy. Kelly didn't break eye contact, didn't back down. She just waited. Finally he spoke, "Because my publicist booked it." "And there it is," Kelly said, shaking her head slowly. "You're here because someone told you to be here, and you're taking that frustration out on me and this audience. That's not fair, Billy Bob. And you know it." "Fair," he repeated. "You want to talk about fair? Let me tell you what's not fair." He leaned forward in his chair, his voice rising. "What's not fair is that I spend months, sometimes years, pouring everything I have into a character, into a story, and then I'm expected to come on shows like this and reduce it all down to cute little sound bites. That's what's not fair." Kelly didn't miss a beat. Nobody's asking you to reduce anything. I'm asking you to share your experience, to connect with people who might want to see your work. There's a difference. Connect. Billy Bob scoffed. That's a nice word for it. What you mean is perform. Give them the Billy Bob they expect. Say something quirky. Make it all entertainment. You're an entertainer, Kelly said, her voice steady, but her frustration starting to show. That's literally your job. And yes, part of that job is talking about your work. I don't know why that's such a revolutionary concept to you because it cheapens it, he insisted. Every time someone like you asks me why I chose a role or what it was like working with so-and-so, you're asking me to explain something that should be felt, not explained. Kelly let out a breath. And when she spoke again, her voice had an edge it hadn't had before. Okay, let me ask you something, Billy Bob. Do you think you're the only artist who's ever sat in that chair? Do you think you're the only one who cares deeply about their work? I didn't say that. You didn't have to, Kelly continued. You're sitting here acting like you're above this whole process, like you're too deep, too serious, too artistic to have a normal conversation. But you know what? I've had musicians on this show who've written songs that changed people's lives, and they managed to talk about it without being condescending. I've had actors who've given performances that made audiences weep, and they showed up with respect and gratitude. Billy Bob's face hardened. Are you saying I'm disrespectful? I'm saying you walked onto my stage with an attitude and you've done nothing but project that attitude onto me and everyone here since you sat down, Kelly replied. So yeah, I'd say that's pretty disrespectful. The audience began to murmur, some nodding in agreement with Kelly. Billy Bob heard it and his expression darkened further. You know what? He said, maybe this was a mistake. Maybe I should just go. Maybe you should, Kelly said quietly. And the studio went dead silent again. But before you do, let me say something. I get that you're an artist. I get that you take your work seriously, but so do I. This show, this conversation, this connection with the audience. That's my art. And you just spent the last several minutes disrespecting it. Billy Bob stood up slowly, and for a moment it looked like he might actually leave. But then he stopped, his hand gripping the arm of the chair. You think you understand what it's like, but you don't. You stand up here every day with your smile and your questions and it's all surface. You don't dig deep. You don't challenge anything. You just keep it light and keep it moving. Kelly stood up too, matching his energy. You want me to dig deep? Fine. Let's dig deep. Why are you really angry right now? Because I promise you it's not about this interview. Excuse me. Billy Bob's voice was sharp. You heard me, Kelly said. You came out here already upset about something and you've been taking it out on this conversation from the start. So what is it really about? You don't know anything about me. He said, you're right. I don't. Kelly agreed. Because you won't tell me. You won't tell anyone. You just hide behind this wall of artistic integrity and act like everyone else is the problem. Billy Bob pointed a finger at her. Don't you dare psychoanalyze me. You're a talk show host, not a therapist. And you're a guest, not a hostage, Kelly fired back. Nobody's keeping you here, but if you're going to stay, then actually be here. Stop acting like you're too good for this. The tension was so thick, you could cut it with a knife. The audience sat frozen, watching this unprecedented exchange unfold. Even the camera operators seemed unsure whether to keep rolling. I've been in this business for decades, Billy Bob said, his voice low and dangerous. I've earned the right to do things my way, and I've earned the right to call it out when someone comes on my show and treats it like a waste of time, Kelly countered. Your decades in the business don't give you permission to be rude. Rude. He repeated, shaking his head. I'm being honest. Maybe you're just not used to that. No, Billy Bob, you're being difficult, Kelly said. There's a difference between honesty and using honesty as an excuse to be unpleasant. I ask you a simple question about your film and you act like I've asked you to solve world hunger. It's not that deep. His eyes flashed. Not that deep. You just said you wanted to dig deep and now you're saying it's not that deep. Which is it, Kelly? It's both, she said, not backing down an inch. The conversation can go deep if you let it, but you're fighting me every step of the way. You're making this harder than it needs to be, And honestly, I'm tired of it. Then end the interview. Send me home. I'm sure you've got plenty of other guests who will smile and nod and give you exactly what you want. Kelly crossed her arms. Is that what you think I want? People who just agree with everything, isn't it? Yes. No, Kelly said firmly. What I want is a real conversation. What I want is for guests to show up and actually engage. What I don't want is someone sitting in that chair acting like they're doing me a favor by breathing the same air. Billy Bob laughed, but it was bitter. There it is. You're offended that I'm not grateful enough, that I'm not kissing the ring. I don't have a ring to kiss, Kelly shot back. But I do have a show that millions of people watch, and they deserve better than this. They deserve better than watching someone sulk their way through an interview because they think they're too important to be here. You keep putting words in my mouth, he said. I never said I was too important. You don't have to say it, Kelly replied. It's in every answer you've given. Every eye roll, every dismissive comment. You've made it crystal clear that you think this is beneath you. Billy Bob took a step closer to her. Maybe it is. Maybe sitting here answering the same questions I've answered 1,000 times, pretending like any of this matters, maybe that is beneath me. The audience gasped. Kelly's eyes went wide. And then something shifted in her expression. She smiled, but it wasn't a warm smile. It was the smile of someone who'd just been handed exactly what they needed. Okay, she said slowly. Okay, Billy Bob, you want to know what I think? I think you're scared. Scared? He looked genuinely taken aback. Of what? Of being real, Kelly said, of actually letting people in. You hide behind this tough guy, too cool for the room act. Because if you actually opened up, if you actually had a genuine conversation, people might see that you're not as untouchable as you pretend to be. Billy Bob's face went red. You don't know what you're talking about, don't I? Kelly pressed. Because from where I'm standing, you came out here with your walls up so high that nothing could get through. And when I tried to have a normal conversation, you lashed out. That's not confidence, Billy Bob. That's fear. I'm not afraid of anything, he said, his voice rising. Then prove it, Kelly challenged. Stop hiding behind the attitude and actually talk to me. Tell me something real. Tell me why you really do this work. Not the cynical answer, not the jaded answer. The real answer. For a long moment Billy Bob just stared at her. The studio was so quiet you could hear people breathing. His jaw worked. His hands clenched and unclenched at his sides. Then he spoke and his voice was different. Because it's the only thing I know how to do, he said. Because when I'm working, when I'm in character, I don't have to be myself. And being myself is exhausting. Kelly's expression softened slightly. But she didn't let up. See, that's honest. That's real. Why couldn't you just say that from the beginning? Because I wasn't talking to you, Billy Bob said. I was talking to the host of a talk show. There's a difference. No, there isn't. Kelly insisted. I'm the same person either way. You're the one who decided I wasn't worth being real with. He shook his head. That's not fair. You keep saying that, Kelly observed. But life's not fair, Billy Bob. This industry is not fair. But you still show up. You still do the work. So why can't you show up here and do this work? 'Cause this feels fake. He said, all of it. The lights, the cameras, the applause, the questions that are designed to get a specific answer. It all feels fake. Then make it real. Kelly said, you have that power. I'm giving you that power right now. Stop fighting me and just be honest. Billy Bob looked at her. Really? Looked at her for the first time since the interview started. You really mean that? Of course I mean it, Kelly said. I've been trying to have a real conversation this whole time. You're the one who kept throwing up roadblocks. He was quiet for a moment, then he sat back down in the chair. Kelly watched him, waiting. The audience waited too, everyone holding their breath to see what would happen next. I'm tired, Billy Bob said finally. I'm tired of pretending that I have all the answers. I'm tired of being the guy everyone expects me to be. And when I walked out here today, I was already tired and I took it out on you. That wasn't right. Kelly sat down too, her posture relaxing slightly. Thank you for saying that. Don't thank me yet, he said. I'm still not great at this. Nobody's asking you to be great at it, Kelly said. Just be honest. That's all anyone wants. Billy Bob nodded slowly. The film, the one I'm supposed to be here promoting, it's about a guy who's lost everything and has to figure out how to start over. And I took the role because I felt like that guy. I felt like I'd lost something, some part of myself. And maybe playing him would help me find it again. Kelly leaned forward. Did it? I don't know, he admitted. Maybe some days I think it did. Other days I think I'm just playing more versions of the same character, hoping one of them will stick. That's the most honest thing you've said all day. Kelly said softly. Yeah, well, Billy Bob said. Don't get used to it. Kelly smiled. A real smile this time. See, there you go again. Right when we're making progress. But before he could respond, she stood up. Her face had changed, become more serious. Billy Bob, I appreciate you opening up just now. Really do. But I can't ignore everything that happened before that. The way you spoke to me, the way you dismissed this show and this audience, that's not okay. He stood up to I know I already said that. Saying it and meaning it are two different things, Kelly said. And honestly, I don't think we can continue this interview. Think you should go. The audience erupted in surprised murmurs. Billy Bob's eyes widened. You're kicking me off. I'm asking you to leave, Kelly clarified. Because even though we just had a moment of honesty, it doesn't erase the 20 minutes before that. And I won't have someone on my show who treats it with contempt, even if they apologize afterward. Billy Bob stood there, clearly not sure how to respond. Kelly, come on. I'm serious, she said. You can walk off with some dignity or security can escort you out. Your choice. He stared at her in disbelief, then looked at the audience, then back at her. This is really happening. This is really happening, Kelly confirmed. You wanted honesty. This is me being honest. I don't want you here anymore. For a long moment nobody moved. Then Billy Bob nodded slowly. All right, we'll go. He started to walk toward the exit, then stopped and turned back. For what it's worth, you're right about all of it. Kelly just nodded. No. And with that, Billy Bob Thornton walked off the stage of the Kelly Clarkson show, leaving behind the most shocking interview in the show's history. If you made it this far, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below. I want to know, do you think Kelly was right to kick him off, or should she have given him another chance? Let me know what you think.